A very good morning to all of you. So, let me begin by introducing myself. I am Sandeep Bist, PGT Computer Science, Kendriya Vidyalaya, Lansdowne. So, today we are going to see a new topic that is control flow in Python, which is in syllabus of class 11th. So, without further ado, let's start the topic. So, first of all, we have to understand that what is control flow. Actually, a control flow is nothing, it's just the order in which the program's code executes. So, in Python, this control flow is regulated by certain conditional statements and loop. Python provides us certain statements by which we can control the flow of the execution of the statements. So let's see that what are these statements and how Python helps us to control the flow. So these six flow controls are: first is if else, then we have nested if else, then we have for loop, then we have this while loop and break and continue. So we are going to see one by one all these statements and how we can use them. So first we have if else statement. Now if else is a conditional statement. So if a certain condition is satisfied and we want, then only a particular statement should get executed, then we use this if statement. For example, say let x equal to 6. Okay, and we are checking that if x is less than 5, print high, else print by. Okay, so here we know that x is 6. Okay, so now this condition, if x is less than 5, it is false. It means this print statement will never get executed. But this print statement, this one, which is printing by, it will get executed because either this one or this one will get executed because we are using if else statement. So if else is a very simple conditional statement which helps us to run or to execute certain statements based on particular condition. Okay, and this is the flowchart of the if else statement. It is very simple, you can see. Now this diamond box, it represents the condition. Now if condition is true, then this statement will get executed, this is statement 1. Okay, and then the rest of the code will get executed. And if the condition is false, then this statement uh, 2 will get executed if we are using else. So here we can see that this else is optional. In this diagram we have not mentioned else, so that's why it is showing that the rest of the code will get executed if the condition is false. So we can use this else optionally. So I hope this else statement is clear to you. Now moving on to our next conditional statement, that is nested if else. In nested if else we can have multiple elif statement. and it stands for else if. So suppose this is the expression or the condition. So now if this condition is true, then this statement will get executed. Then if we write elif expression, it means if this condition, if it is false, and we want that, if it is false and we want to check another condition, so we can write this elif statement. So as you can see, with the help of elif statement, we can again check a condition. And this conditional thing, it was not applicable with the else statement, as you can see here. Okay, so we cannot put a condition in else statement, but with the help of elif statement, we can again check a condition, and if this condition is true, this statement s will get executed. And again we can just write another elif statement, and we can write any number of elif statement followed by this if statement, and at last we have this else statement. If all of these fail, this else will get executed. And here we are having the flowchart of this nested elif statement. You can see this is the diamond box, conditional box. If this condition is false, then again we have this elif, and with the help of elif we can again check a condition. Again, if this is false, we can go to the body of this else loop, this one. So in this flow chart, we have taken only one elif, and here we have taken two elif. Now if this is true, then body of if will get executed. So I hope this nested elif statement is clear to you. Now moving on to our third statement, that is for loop. Actually this for is a loop. It helps us to implement iteration in Python. Now what this for does is that with the help of this for statement, we can iterate through a sequence with the help of a iterable variable. So what this iterable variable will do, it will pick the values of the elements of this sequence, and then we can use those elements while executing the statement inside this for loop or for block. Now this is the flowchart of this for loop. You can see now this for loop iteration in sequence. As you can see that the condition is that whether this iterable variable has reached the last element of the sequence. If this iterable variable has reached the last element of the sequence, then it will get out of the loop. If not, then this body of this for loop, body means all the statement inside this block, it will get executed, and again it will check for the condition that whether this iterable variable has reached the last element of the sequence, and this thing will continue until iterable variable reaches the last element of this sequence. So with the help of for, we can iterate through a sequence, and I will show you with the example that how we can do this. Okay, so here you can see we have a list named pie list, a list of fruits. You can say apple, mango, guava, pineapple. Okay, now with the help of for loop, we will iterate through all the elements of this list, and then we will do the needful as per our program. So you can see that we have a variable ci equal to 1, and now we are iterating with the help of this item variable in this sequence named pie list. So you can see This item will have the values apple and then mango and then guava and then pineapple, and we are printing print item I is item. So this item will become apple, mango, guava and pineapple, and this I will become 1, and then you can see we are increasing it here, incrementing it here, so it will become 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it will print item 1 is apple, item 2 is mango, item 3 is guava and item 4 is pineapple, and you can see the output here. So this is how we use for loop to iterate through a sequence. So I hope this for loop is clear. Now moving on to our next statement, that is while statement. This w is small, you can just see that this w is small here. So what is this while statement? Again, this while statement or while loop, it helps us to execute certain statement unless, or we can say while the condition is true. So this while loop, it accepts a conditional statement here, and if the condition is true, it will execute this statement in the block. So you can see these are the statement in the block, and it can be 1, 2 or 3, as many as we can want. So this while loop, the flowchart of the while loop, you can see here. Now if the condition is true, then it will execute these statements in the block, as you can see here. And if the condition is false, it will just go out of the loop. So it is very very simple, and you can see an example here. I have written a simple code, and this is the output of the code, and you can see that how this thing is getting printed. Here I have taken a variable a equal to 1. Now I'm testing that while a is less than 3. Okay, so while a is less than 3, then I am checking it that whether it is even or odd, and it is very easy to check whether a number is even or odd. Just check the remainder it is giving when divided by 2. If the remainder is 0, then it is even, or when remainder is not 0, then it is odd. So we can see that a is 1 here, so it will print 1 is even, sorry, 1 is odd, because 1 mod 2 is not equal to 0, it is 1. So this thing will get printed. So 1 is odd, you can see here 1 is odd, this will get printed. And then we are increasing a will become 2 while a is less than 3. Okay, we know that 2 is less than 3, so again it will go inside this loop. It will check 2 mod 2 equal to 0. Yes, it is. So it will print a is even, means 2 is even, so this will get printed. Now again a will get incremented and it will become 3. Now while 3 is less than 3, so it is false, and it will get out of the loop. So this will be the output, and these are the sequences a will go through. Okay, so I hope this while loop is clear to you, how we can use while loop to control the flow of the execution. Okay, so now let's move on to our next statement, that is break statement. Actually, break statement is used to get out of a loop based on a certain condition. So you can see here, we will just, when we are in a loop, we will just check the this condition. If it is true, then we will break out of the loop, and if it is not, if it is not, then remaining body of the loop will get executed. Okay, So it will be more clear to you when I will show you the example, the code. So let's go to the code. So here you can see we have here we are using a for loop, and we are iterating through this string named string. Now this val will have values string, and we are just checking it. We are checking the condition. If val equal to I, if this condition is true, then we will break out of the loop. Otherwise, we will print the value of this val variable. And as we know that this val will become s, then t, then ri, and then I, and then n, and then g. So till the value of this val is this s, it will print s. If it is t, that is in second turn, it will become t, so it will print t, then it will become then it will print r. And when this value val, it will become I, then this condition will get true. Okay, and then we will move out of the loop, and this will get printed the end. So you can see that how this break statement uh, does its work. It takes us out of the enclosing loop. Okay, so I hope this break statement is clear to you. Now moving on to our continue statement. Okay, now what does this continue statement does? This continue statement, it it checks a condition, that whether that particular condition is true or not. So it asks whether to continue or not. If you want to continue, then this loop will the rest of the statements will get uh, they will not get executed, and this loop will continue. Okay, now if we don't want to continue, then remaining body of the loop will get executed. Okay, and then it will go back to the test condition. Now if this condition is false, then we will get out of the loop. Okay, so this thing will get clear when we will see the example of the code. Now you can see again we are having this for loop, this variable val, and this string, this string, and the name is also string. Now you can see that if val equal to 1, continue. Now what it will do, it will check that if the value of this variable val is I, it will continue. It means what? It means that uh, this statement will not run if it is true. So when val is this s, it is false, it means this will get executed. It means it will print this the value of this val s. When this val will become t, it will be false, it will again print this. When it is r, it will print this. When it is this I, when this val will become I, then this continue statement will get executed, and this will not get executed. This print will not get executed, and you can see that I is not here, because when val is I, this again this control will go here. It will check the next thing here, next element in the string. So now this val will become n, this val equal to I, this will become false, and then this print val will get executed, and it will print n, and then at last it will become g, and you can see that g is printed. So you can see here that when val is I, then this print val will not get executed, and this I will not get printed. That's why we are having str, not I but nng. And when it will get out of this for loop, the end will get printed. And you can see this the end is getting printed at last. So that's all for today, and we have learned that how we can use statements provided by Python uh, to control the execution of the flow of the this flow execution of the statements. So that's all for today. Thank you.